another interesting segment on Home Truth Manager. Today, I will talk on the topic bad traits Nigerian men show in relationship. I promised to talk about this topic in the last video, and this is the topic, just as I promised. Now, it's important to understand that these traits are displayed by some Nigerian men, not all, some. However, for the sake of this video, let us focus on these traits that a lot of ladies have testified to have seen that is quite annoying when dating some Nigerian men, not all. Now, the first one is small talk. Now, if you're someone who enjoys having a deep conversation and is not a fan of small talk, and this would or might really get you annoyed when you're dating some Nigerian men who are only into small talk. Now, Nigerian men, some do not talk too deep except it is needed. The reason for this is that in Nigeria, as a man, growing up, society teaches you not to talk too much or what we consider as being talkative. In fact, if you are a Nigerian man who talks too much, people start questioning your gender. You hear things like, are you a man? Because you talk too much for a man. As a man, you're not supposed to talk too much. Only women are allowed to talk too much. So this has indeed affected a lot of Nigerian men growing up that they are only fine with having small talk. Now, how does this affect your relationship? You might ask. Some of these Nigerian men who come up from this pattern may only be involved in small talk. And this gets a lot of women annoyed because some of you wish to have this deep conversation. You talk about things and get lost in ideas about plans and something. A lot of you've met Nigerian men where you just ask them, babe, how was work today? You would hear things like, well, fine. How did it go? Well, I thank God. Was it stressful? Well, it is well. You get to hear all this small talk. It's like uh, you worked 8 hours. All you have to say is fine. Oh, I thank God. I mean, there should be more to talk about. When you keep pressing, you see your Nigerian man giving you gestures like he's tired, he doesn't want to talk too much. And this indeed has actually affected a lot of relationship and actually get so many women annoyed. Now, there are women who like, we can't even discuss everything because I am sapiosexual. I need someone who I can have a deep conversation with. Yes, of course, there are people like this in Nigeria, but this is something a lot of Nigerian men will speak deeply when there is a need to talk deeply. If there's no need, they're fine with, okay, fine, yes, thank you, it is well, thank God. And that, and maybe how is your cat? Yeah, the next point is Nigerian men can be difficult and stubborn. Yes, Nigerian men are very sweet. We know that. At the same time, a lot of Nigerian men can be stubborn and difficult to deal with. A lot of you who have been with Nigerian men for some time, you understand how difficult and stubborn Nigerian men can be, especially when it comes to certain things or angles in life. I've always had reports of Nigerian men, oh, they're very sweet and caring, but at the same time, they are not easy to deal with, especially when the Nigerian man has made up his mind to do something. Because a lot of them do what they have in their mind. Doesn't matter what advice or assistance you have in place for them. If they don't have that uh, uh, in their heart, they would not listen to you. They would do first what they have in their mind. They will do it first, see how it pans out, and then do what their family have advised them, and then do what the friends say, and then they would come to you and see what plans you have. They'll listen to your plan. They're like, yeah, yeah, you're right, and then at the end of the day, they'll still do what they have to do in their mind, not what you're saying. And yes, this can be very frustrating to a lot of women and annoying, and they consider it very bad because they feel like these guys are stubborn to deal with when it comes to being in a relationship. I mean, how do you have a relationship with a man and you can affect his choices? As a lady, I mean, a lot of you must have read about Samson and Delilah. The next point is might be insensitive. Some Nigerian men might be insensitive to situations you actually require them to be sensitive to. At least, show some element of concern. Now, the problem today is that some Nigerian men do not or cannot relate to certain things you expect from them. And at the end, they might appear insensitive. I remember a lady who had issue, a very serious issue with a Nigerian man some few years back. You see, the lady had a cat and she's been with this cat for 14 years. And then one day, the cat was no more. The cat had to be euthanized because the cat was living in pains and very sick. And it actually took a huge toll in their relationship for weeks, heading to months. Now, when she told her Nigerian man about it, bawling her eyes on phone, crying, the Nigerian man, I mean, did the best he could by saying sorry to her. However, weeks, months gone, the lady was still totally affected by it. She was depressed. And at this point, her Nigerian guy wasn't understanding why she was reacting this way. In his understanding, it's like, it's a cat. It is a cat. He couldn't understand why someone would get depressed because of a cat, or how this could really affect them having normal conversation or resuming as they had always been in their relationship because of a cat. He couldn't get it. So the lady felt he was very insensitive. And to the Nigerian man, he was accusing the lady of not being caring and using that as a tactics not to, be in the relationship anymore. So they had this huge problem. It was a pet war. The lady was like, oh, you're insensitive. I told you this cat for 14 years of my life. And the guy was like, yeah, but I told you sorry. But I mean, it's months. You still mourning and grieving for the cat. What do you want me to do? So they had this huge problem. So when the case came to me, I spoke to the young man. I said, listen, in this part of the world, pets are considered to be part of a family. They're very important, just like humans. So if this lady is, feeling depressed, and sad because she lost her cat, the best you can do is just to understand her, give her time to heal and come through, support her, And then at the same time, I told the lady, I said, this dude, you're having a long distance relationship. This dude in Nigeria, um, some don't understand this, some don't understand this. So you both are angry because of miscommunication. And to this lady, it's like, oh, you was insensitive. And this could or might be happening in your relationship because you might be going through something or in a phase right now, and your Nigerian guy is not acting accordingly, and you think he's basically like insensitive to the matter. The truth is, you need to maybe cut some slack at times and ask yourself this question: whatever thing I'm going through now, is it something that is relatable in the society or culture he's coming from? Because this area of insensitivity, especially in relationship, giving feelings and what people go through when you're in a long distance relationship, a lot of these guys, they don't understand it, they can't process it, they don't have the empathy for it because they've not experienced it. The best they can do is to sympathize with you, but because they've not experienced it, they can't actually empathize with what you're doing. So a lot of ladies have always like, oh, they're very insensitive and stuff. Yes, it's a problem, but you need to try to understand if this could be a possibility. So the question of insensitivity in relationship with Nigerian men, it actually happens a lot of time. So guys, the next point is half truths. Now, some of you might have noticed something when dating some Nigerian men, which is what I call the half truth syndrome. Now, some Nigerian men will tell you something important at the very beginning of the relationship. Then later on in the relationship, you will figure out there is more from what he had told you in the beginning. And this is where so many women would come out like, oh, Nigerian men, they tell lie a lot. A lot of them tell lie. Now, why does this happen? Now, here's the thing. Some Nigerian men are like movie directors. Now, when they meet you as a lady, after getting to know you, the little they can know you and figure out who you are, they would now decide if you are going to be a protagonist or an antagonist. This role would determine the kind of information some of them, not all, some of them might be giving might give you. I beg your pardon. Now, if they discover that you are an antagonist, then a lot of them would give you what I call half truth. You know, the half truth of their life. This is because to some, they are not sure if they actually want to be with you. There is something around you that is making them not to be very sure. So maybe they've seen something that, okay, the relationship with you may not last. They figured it out like, okay, but let's just see what goes on. Maybe things will change. So they give you this half truth. Now, along the line, if things start, getting interesting, nice, maybe you beat and surpass the expectation. Maybe the expectation they had that, okay, maybe it won't work and all of this. Maybe they got to see that, okay, there is more to you. You're actually a nice soul. you know, some of them might open up to give you the full version of what they have told you before, or what I call the director's cut behind the scene. Or some would allow you to figure it out yourself. But because the relationship is gaining grounds and you guys are moving forward towards the right direction, a lot of them would come clean to tell you more to what they've told you in the beginning because they really want to be with you. Now, this is where a lot of ladies get pissed with the notion that they've been lied to, which is the truth. You've been lied to, which to the Nigerian man, when he analyzes it, he sees it like kind of a white lie. It's a half truth. There's a truth in what he has told you. Of course, you can see it as a lie. Now, I've seen countless cases of women who met this man and they told them things like, for instance, you see the man who like, oh, I've never been married before, but I have kids. Or you see cases like, oh, I have kids. I was divorced with my wife, etc. But along the line, the lady will start getting information. And from this information, the guy would own up. You see some like, yeah, okay, we separated, we're not officially divorced. Or, yes, I'm married, I'm trying to divorce the lady. Or, this happened, this happened, this happened. Now, the lady is now having a new drama, to deal with. I've seen cases of a lady who actually, 1 week to her wedding, the Nigerian man she was going to get married to actually told her, I have a child with another lady in this same country. We are not far away from where I live. And the lady was like, what? I've been with you for like 2 years. I didn't, like, what? You know, this lady reached out to me one Saturday morning. I was like, listen, uh, you guys are set to get married next week. Uh, I can't tell you anything now. So it doesn't come like, hey, Home True told me to cancel the wedding or Home True told me to go ahead. I was like, well, now you have to make this decision yourself. So she decided to see the child and also see the mother to verify that there was never a time they were married. They had this child while they were dating and the relationship ended. So to his defense, it was like, well, I was scared. I felt if I told you, you would not want to continue with me, so I had to keep it a secret until they were about to get married. She was heartbroken. Yes, it was difficult, but she gave the guy hard terms and conditions before the marriage would take place. They eventually got married and they're still together till date because she decided to forgive the guy because the guy promised no more secret, no more half truth, no more white lies. And this is why it's very important to some of you ladies, if you're dating a Nigerian man, the moment your relationship is gaining ground, it's important for you to stop, match the break and make him understand like, look, is there something you've told me that you didn't complete? Do you have anything you've said to me that you and I know that if I find out in the future, it's going to be a lie? Is there something you want to come clean with? I rather you tell me now so that I can process it and decide if we're going to move forward or not. You always have to give this man the opportunity to come out clean. A lot of you don't do this. Match the break and tell the guy, is there something you want to tell me? because I don't tolerate lies. If I discover along the line you lied from the beginning, that is it. So you need to give them this opportunity to come clean. Now, another thing you would notice is Nigerian men, some Nigerian men, they owe you no explanation. A lot of Nigerian men, when you're dating them, they want to know everything, if possible, and anything you're doing. They need explanation for everything you're doing. They want to understand what you're doing before they will give their seal of approval or disapproval to that thing. However, these same Nigerian men, in some cases, they owe you no explanation. You don't have to ask them what they're up to. It's gonna be a problem. In fact, when you try to point out things they're doing wrong, they will try to keep you quiet because they will tag you to be very controlling. You know, they will tell you, who do you think you are to tell me what to do or how to live my life? How dare you talk to me like that? Do you know I'm a grown man? Do you know what I'd gone through in Africa, Nigeria? You think it's easy to live in Africa? Living in Africa alone is like a 9 to 5 job. They're supposed to pay you each day for living in Africa. If I can survive Africa and come to your country and trying to, want me to give you explanation on what I'm doing, how I'm doing, are you my mother? Who are you? You always get this encounter when you tell them about this because they want you to give an account for what you're doing, but they owe you no explanation. They don't have to give you an account for whatever thing they are doing. So this is one thing you would also encounter. And the next point, guys, is the rinse and repeat attitude. Now, the rinse and repeat attitude is basically your Nigerian man doing the same thing he has apologized for over and over again. Now, you always have this situation where you complain about something your Nigerian man has done, and he's like, babe, I am so sorry, please forgive me, I won't do it again. The next day he repeats it and you're like, I thought we talked about it. And you see him acting all disappointed and gutted, feeling let down by the whole process, with him making some kind of gesture, to show how frustrated he is about the whole thing. And the next few days he does it again and you're like, but you promise. And he says, I know this time it is not my fault. A lot has been going through my head, and I actually didn't know when it happened. I was just taken aback, with everything happening in my life. Oh, babe, I'm so sorry. He tries to tell you so sorry. If he's close to you, he tries to give you a hug, calls you sweet names, and asks for your forgiveness. And nobody knows how to ask for forgiveness more than Nigerian men. And then he will swear never to make it happen again. And then the next, it happens. And this time, it was the devil and you that caused it. Because for the past few days, he hasn't done it. He was doing just fine until the devil entered you, and then the devil entered him, and he had to do it. Nonetheless, babe, I am sorry. This time, babe, he's going to ask you, babe, please, this time I think it's spiritual. You need to pray from you. Now, a lot of you have gone through this. I've had cases like he apologizes every day. He apologizes. He says he's sorry. He keeps doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm tired. A lot of you are not having this uh, anymore with your Nigerian boyfriend. In summary, your Nigerian man is basically telling you, I don't give an F. I don't give an F. You want me to apologize for everything or try to control me on how to do my thing. I don't give an F. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm just going to keep apologizing to it. Now, guys, why am I making this video? First, I'd like you guys to understand that Nigerian men are not perfect when it comes to relationship. We have our flaws and bad traits, just like any other ethnicity. Now, there are traits that you can work with, but there are also traits that are potential red flag. Red flag that you should run. You shouldn't even like tolerate it. You know, and you need to understand that when you want to go into intercultural relationship, especially people from two different ethnicity, you are bound to have a moment of difficulty and struggle. This is totally normal. I've had cases where a couple was, basically trying to sign up him and the Nigerian man for therapy, to meet a love coach or a therapist to help work on their relationship. And the Nigerian man was like, I can't go to meet somebody who's going to teach me how to run my relationship. What are you saying? I know how to run my relationship. I can make my relationship work. How can I meet someone? Maybe the person we are going to meet has been divorced 3 times, or the person we're going to meet has not been in a relationship for 10 years, and you want him to fix our relationship. That's not possible. And the truth is, a lot of Nigerian men would not be open to you meeting a therapist, to help your relationship. Now, the bottom line is, when you meet or you encounter certain traits in your relationship with a Nigerian man, and you see that this particular behavior or trait is becoming so serious, you guys are fighting, it's causing friction between you, it is very important to assess that situation. It doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter how desperate you are, it doesn't matter how loaded this individual is, it doesn't matter what it brings to the table. First you have to protect yourself. If you think this would be a problem on the long run, you see, marriage does not change people. You need to understand this. As a lot of you think, change is something that happens gradually, and sometimes before it comes, it might have done a lot of damage. And I wouldn't advise anyone to go into marriage with a view to change someone, because 90% of the time it would not work. So the truth is, if you think you can't deal with a particular trait, I would say leave the relationship. If you think it's something you can work on, well, good luck on that one. Always important to keep your dignity and your respect, no matter the situation, irrespective of what your social status is at the moment. So, guys, as always, if you got a question, write me on hometruth86@gmail.com. If you want to chat on WhatsApp, use the number on your screen. Click, like, share, and subscribe. Home Truth Nigeria. Peace out.